We are the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network. And this is our news recap show. I am your host, Ricky Phillips. Now, I do got a special report lined up for local news right here in my area dealing with how the New World Order has infested my own state. They've infiltrated my state. It's actually been going on for a while. For those of you who don't know, you can go ahead and check out my Operation Call Revere film. I am from Germantown, Maryland, Montgomery County, Maryland, in the county right on the border of Washington, D.C. And we're actually, I don't want to get into it. Basically, I just want to let people know in the future, that's going to be the next special report I get to after this one. I'm going after homegrown, right here in my own state, right here in my own county, globalist sympathizers, people in my county and in my state who run political offices and obviously are in bed with the globalists at some level. Now, that's it. That's all I'm going to get into for now. So if you are a politician in Maryland and you haven't picked up on it by now, there is a spokesperson here for Liberty now, so you're going to have to deal with me at some point, and I am looking into heading into Annapolis and trying to do some interviews with people. Unfortunately, my car broke down, as I've mentioned a couple months ago. I haven't been able to get it fixed still. I don't have much money, but I will find a way to get there if I have to take a cab or whatever. I will find a way to get there and see if I can confront some of these people. And again, I'm also going to be going after people in my county that are members of the county council, because my county has been responsible for a lot of globalist activity in the past and in the present. And I will be covering a lot of that in the future. So for Marylanders out there, if you're a Marylander and you know someone who's interested in liberty and you don't know who to tell them to go listen to, point them in the direction of the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network. YN News 1776 right here on YouTube for free. You can tune in, and I just give this information out for free. But I just want to let Marylanders and Montgomery Countyers know that in the future I am going to be going over a bunch of local stuff related to how the New World Order is right here in our own home, right down the street. They're all over the place. But all that being said, this special report is sort of going to dovetail with a bunch of stuff I've talked about before and a bunch of stuff I've already got planned for the future. Because as I mentioned, this is a news recap show. It's old news. So there's a bunch of new news that's come out about this stuff. But this one is the effects of gun confiscation, of this gun-grabbing talk, of ending the Second Amendment, and overall the growth of it, where people are even calling for ending the Bill of Rights or ending the Constitution. And I'm going to try to cover a wealth of information here. First of all, a lot of these gun grabber people are politicians who are for gun control. They like to say, even if they lose debates, as I've mentioned before, sometimes people who are purely evil, who really have evil intent, they'll try to cover it up and try to act like they're good and try to act like they're friendly or whatever. But with information, with the truth, you can force the wickedness out of them. And you see this sometimes in the gun debates where they'll lose and they'll be like, it doesn't matter if we lost this time because we got your kids. And they're referring to their indoctrination through the public schooling system. For those of you who went through the public schooling system, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, I would get suspended from school if I wore this shirt. I saw people get suspended for wearing shirts like this or drawing pictures or all types of stuff. But ever since the events in Sandy Hook, the Second Amendment has been under assault. And it's indoctrination of the youth. And all I got to point to is the kids with water guns getting arrested. Kids with bubble guns. The girl with a bubble gun got suspended from school. Kids with their fingers doing like this are getting in trouble and kicked out of school. And a kid was eating a Pop-Tart and it was shaped like a gun, so he got kicked out of school. This is asinine. This is totally crazy. A kid eating a Pop-Tart and it's shaped like a gun as he's eating it, and he gets kicked out of school. And I mean, I forget which one of these kids, I don't know if it might have been the finger, because I remember I read an article where one of the kids, and again, it's old news, I read these articles a long time ago, there's so much new information about what's going on. I mean, for example, just today there was news out that an Italian shotgun manufacturer went to a gun show to sell his guns in Colorado, and they arrested him for legally owning his guns. Again, nothing illegal went on. They just arrested him. And again, that's why I mentioned we're reaching the scary point here, where it's getting pretty crazy, where they're just disappearing people. But Kids are taught the Second Amendment is bad in school. So it's anti-gun propaganda through the public schooling system, and that's why they always say, it doesn't matter if we can't get the guns from you, we got your kids. And that's how they are. So in all actuality, gun confiscation has really begun. As I mentioned, there's just a report right there where the guy had his shotguns that he owned, nothing illegal about him, and a cab driver saw the guy putting his guns away because he was ready to drive home from the gun show, and called the cops and said, I saw a guy putting shotguns in his car. Ho, ho, ho. I'm at a gun show. What? And the cops arrested him. It's crazy. But veterans, they've started claiming veterans are insane, and the VA has been calling up veterans and asking them to attend these sessions where they evaluate their psychological state, and all they have to do is claim you're insane and take away their guns. They're called wellness checks. Forgive me, I wrote it down here. They're called wellness checks. So if you're a veteran and you get a call from the VA, the Veterans Association, and the Veterans Association calls you and says, we want you to participate in a wellness check. Now again, sometimes they do this. This is not abnormal, but what is abnormal is them particularly targeting guns. If they walk in the house for the wellness check, and for those people who don't know, the local police usually perform the wellness check. So if they walk into the house and they see you've got a gun safe or whatever, all of a sudden they're bringing you in for extra evaluation from the psychologist. And again, it's a state-run psychologist, so he's going to evaluate you however he's been paid or told to evaluate you. Now again, this ties in with the veterans being labeled as terrorists by the Department of Homeland Security and all that other stuff. For those of you keeping up with the news, you'll understand with the IRS. Look at them. Look at them targeting people. That's become a big scandal. I have to ask, if the IRS doing this is a big scandal, why isn't it a big scandal that the Department of Homeland Security is doing it? Why isn't it a big scandal that the FBI is doing it? Why isn't it a big scandal that the CIA is doing it? Why is that not a big deal, but the IRS doing it is a big deal? I understand the IRS is a private collection agency for the private Federal Reserve, and that's a little bit different. That's like citizens going after citizens almost, even though most people think they're part of the government. But the government's also targeting people, and people think the IRS is part of the government. So it's a private collection agency for the private Federal Reserve to get their money that they've tied us onto with debt. It's so much, I'm not going to go into it. Again, this is on the effects of gun confiscation upon the public. Now, and I'm just going over old news related to this. There's going to be links that you can go ahead and check out. I've actually started organizing my links a little bit better for my special report, so it's a lot easier for me to add them into my pictures. Now, in New York and California, gun confiscations being led by what department? Guess. What department would lead the gun confiscations in the states that already have laws that allow them to start confiscating guns? What federal agency would help them? Well, the answer is, guess what? It's the Department of Homeland Security, just like I just mentioned. They're aiding in the gun confiscation with the local police and local authorities and state police, which is really part of the federal government anyway. So, it's crazy when you really get down to it. They use semantics. And what is semantics? They mix words, or they use words to confuse people, or really it's actually going to be part of the documentary I'm working on. It's a lot like Newspeak in the book 1984, the movie 1984. Go check it out. It's Newspeak, and it's where they just limit the language or make the language into something it's really not. And what that does is it makes it harder for people to communicate with one another. That's why they limit the language. That's why they shrink the language. Some people might mention it like that. Now, in addition to this, the gun confiscation budgets have been proposed at local city levels, and basically they're deciding how much money are we going to give to the police forces that we build to literally go into people's houses, kick in their doors, and take away their personal property. How much are we going to pay the gun thieves is basically what these cities at local city levels, mainly in California, are deciding right now. I mean, they've already begun. I mean, they've already started nabbing bets. They've already started going after anybody they can claim with a mental disorder. If a kid mentions that he wants to have a squirt gun fight at school, the cops will go to the parents' house and take their guns. I mean, bizarro world, Twilight Zone, 1984, Orwellian crazy nightmare. I was born into an Orwellian nightmare. It is madness. This is madness. This is the New World Order. It's crazy. Now, in addition to this, the media, the mainstream media, is always going after the gun confiscation stuff. They're always for gun grabbing. They're always for all this stuff. And I should mention this. There's some video up. You can go ahead and look it up. Type in Mayors Against Gun Violence, Texas, or Austin City Mayor. Forget his name. But anyway, he's at a rally for these gun confiscation, gun grabbing stuff, and there's a guy there with a sign, and he's holding it up, and it's a stop sign. And written across the stop sign is "Stop the Gun Ban." Pretty, clever. It's a stop sign that says "Stop the Gun Ban." Kind of neat, kind of unique, kind of inventive. But the mayor up there, he points to him, and they're like, "Who's this troublemaker? Somebody ought to tell this guy that there isn't currently a gun ban in progress, but because of the work we're doing here today, we'll make your sign legitimate shortly." So whenever they say we're not going for a gun confiscation, it's never about gun confiscation. They're lying. They're lying. That's exactly what it's about. They want to take away your best means of self-defense. And in addition, it's your personal property. You own it. Again, like I mentioned with Cyprus, they want to take your money, they want to take your guns. Guess what? They want to take everything. They want to take your phones, they want to take your video games, they want to take your movie, they want to take your TV. They want you to work as their slave. They will feed you. They will give you a place to sleep, a little box about the size of my room. And for those of you who don't know, my room is extremely small. They want to put you in a little box. They want to take away everything you own, and they want to force you to work for them. That is their ultimate goal, and that's only for the people they deem worthy to keep alive. They really want to kill the majority of the people and only keep alive the most loyal slaves. Again, people like me who wear shirts like this, or people like me who go out and talk about this stuff, they have no place in their system for us. There's no place for anyone who loves liberty. There's no place for anyone who wants to hold on to a family. There's no place for anyone who wants to have personal property. There's no place for anyone who wants to stand up for themselves in self-defense. There's just no place. In the New World Order system, you do what you're told, and that's all you worry about. And if the system gets tired of you, you happily accept your fate. Sorry, I go off on tirades like that. And it's mainly because I'm skipping over this special report I wrote up about my home state, and my home state is one of the states that, actually I should add it into the states that have begun gun confiscation. New York, California, Maryland's up there too. Maryland's in that category. I don't know of any actual gun confiscations occurring yet. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just not investigating hard enough. Again, I do a lot of stuff, so I try to spend as much time as I can studying and researching this stuff and reporting it to other people as best as I possibly can. Now let me get on to some of the stuff I want to cover here that's going to go with the links I got up. And again, this is old news. There's such new gun confiscation Second Amendment stuff. There's tons of it. But in addition, there's a Time columnist demonized gun owners and the Second Amendment, saying they're responsible for all the gun crime. It's because of them that people get guns, and it's not the government gives the bad guys guns. It's been proven. If you don't believe me, go ahead and watch the Nicolas Cage movie Lord of War. In that movie, it's based off a true story, and they document, at the end of the movie, he gets caught. For the spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, Nicolas Cage, who's the gun runner, he gets caught, and the Interpol agent is sitting with him in the interrogation room, and the Interpol agent's like, we got you with the guns, we got you on tape, we got you everything, we're going to jail. And the Interpol agent's like, yeah, we caught you, gun grabber. And Nicolas Cage is calm and cool and collected, and he turns to him and he says, in 5 minutes, you're going to get a knock on that door, and a 5-star Army general is going to tell you to let me go. 5 seconds later, there's a knock on the door, the Army general says, let him go. The gun runner gets released, and he meets with the 5-star general right outside the building, and he has a new job for him. We want you to run guns here. The government runs the guns illegally, but they like to pin it on the Second Amendment. That's what Fast and Furious was all about. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. I haven't done a special report about it yet. I apologize. I am not perfect, and I don't have a team or a crew or anybody. I'm doing this solo here. In addition, Bill Maher, for those of you who don't know, he has that HBO talk show. He calls the Second Amendment BS. I'm not going to say it, but he doesn't use BS. He uses bull. And then the police in New York the ones who are actually participating in the gun confiscation, after they do it, there's articles and reports that they just feel awful. You know, they know they're breaking the Constitution, which is the law of the land, and they're stealing stuff from people, and they're feeling bad afterwards. And most cops say, because most cops know that guns that are used for crimes are usually illegal guns purchased through illegal means, and I already told you where most of the illegal guns come from. It's another way for black ops to make money for their black ops operations. For those of you who don't know what black ops is, I'm not talking about the Call of Duty game. I'm talking about serious, real, shadow government, shadow military operations. They have to get money from somewhere, and they don't want to put it in the books. So they got to do illegal activity and use the illegal money to fund their illegal operations. It's how it works. That's welcome to the real world. I'm sorry for getting down there at the end. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This was a special report about the effects of gun confiscation, what it is doing to the children, what it's doing to police officers, what it's doing to society, what it does to individuals, how it affects you, and why you should start paying attention. So thank you for tuning in, and as always, I want to remind everybody to stay safe, to stay strong, to stay free, and to stay informed.